As if love doesn't exist. As if love doesn't exist. Episode 55.
The newlyweds have finally arrived.
What are you doing so early in the morning?
Because I heard that the newlyweds are coming today, I had breakfast early and came. Look, the bride is also beautiful.
Did you have a nice dream? Grandma Samson should be working diligently.
The elders are already waiting for their granddaughter at the main house.
Because I'm wearing a hanbok skirt and flower shoes, it is very difficult to climb the stairs.
Come on.
The elders of our family gathered at the Suwon house as if they had heard that we had come to say hello. Thank you. Grandpa, we have come.
Yes.
Unlike the other elders of the head of the family who seemed to be in a good mood, Grandpa looked uncomfortable.
You didn't go on your honeymoon, did you?
I know for sure because of this.
I have work.
Even though nothing happened at the company?
I went to Hanamdong because there was a problem with my parents in Ikandong.
Wait, you mean? That day you went to Hanamdong not because of Yunhai but because of your parents and grandma in Ikandong? So why was Yunhai at home with this person that morning and why didn't she explain it to me when she clearly knew I would misunderstand? Why?
Ijin, what is your relationship with those people? Will someone die? Or someone's life be in danger? Are you going to ruin your once-in-a-lifetime honeymoon with your wife just because of something like that? Can you go and talk to Mom for a bit?
Yes, Grandpa. I'll talk to Mom.
Are you treating Sian like that because of Guihyun? And I plan to cut off all ties with that family from now on, so you should know that. What do you mean by suddenly? Didn't you tell me to live by treating Professor Kim's family as my own family? Ijin, from now on listen carefully to what I say. Guihyun. That's a lie.
Hyun?
Right. I wanted to keep this from you until Guihyun woke up but Ijin when I heard that you refused to get married and didn't even go on a honeymoon, so I thought I shouldn't hide it anymore. I wonder why Guihyun did this. Right. He's really evil. Well, he's a bad person, but why did he do that? Why did he get involved in their trickery?
Grandpa.
The day when Sian was hospitalized in the same hospital as me, I went to his ward to see how Sian was doing. However, I heard Sian having a big fight with Professor Kim's daughter inside. I heard something shocking there. The story about Guihyun having deceived us and having dated Professor Kim's daughter for 5 years. They fooled us very well. He told me that he met Sian, but in the end he met Professor Kim's daughter. They fooled us very well. He told me that he met Sian, but in the end he met Professor Kim's daughter. Guihyun, he has known for a long time that the child is Professor Kim's biological daughter. I don't understand at all why Guihyun lied like that. I want to ask, but now he can only lie down.
Wait a minute. This story must be about.
The person Guihyun Appa planned to marry at that time was not me, but Kim Yunhai.
At that time.
Plus, Professor Kim's mother committed a heinous act. How could Mr. Kim Donghan's daughter-in-law commit such a heinous and frightening act?
What do you mean?
Among the words I heard that day, there was something that bothered my mind. What kind of monk were they talking about?
Monk.
Gwighian's name came up at that time. My heart was beating fast when I heard it. I immediately went to ask the monk. But he had gone on a pilgrimage, so it took a long time to meet him.
If you want to know the truth, go to a monk named Zhongxian. He was the beginning of all this misfortune.
This story that seems impossible to understand. They fit together like a puzzle.
As soon as he saw my face, he knew who I was, and then he told me the truth. No matter how precious his granddaughter was, how could he think of exchanging her for someone else's child?
I couldn't believe it even after hearing this story directly from my father-in-law. I couldn't even believe that the monk said such an incredible fact with his own mouth.
Would the monk himself admit it?
You know, I'll make him talk no matter what.
I plan to kill him on the spot if he's involved in our Gwighian's accident. What an amazing story that unfolds. I don't know, he said that Professor Kim's daughter has a short lifespan, so she had to live as someone else's child until she was 25 years old to avoid disaster. After hearing that story, Professor Kim's mother did such a terrible thing. She exchanged it and waited for 25 years to pass.
One day, what he said rang in my ears.
Some people saw me like that and thought about this. There must have been circumstances that caused this. But if there was no one around me that I could trust, I would have kept it to myself. But because I miss my biological parents, I spent hours on the road to visit them every week. It must have been very sad to see the boss and Yunhai together. I died in the winter when I was 27 years old.
I didn't believe it at first.
Aijin, I've lived my life from 17 to 27 twice. I died and then went back to the past and came back to life.
Then I didn't want to believe it, because it was too unreasonable to believe. But everything he told me was true.
Because this life feels so hard. I prayed while looking at the moon that I wouldn't open my eyes the next day, and my wish came true.
It shouldn't be true, but it's the truth. When he went back 10 years ago and said the first thing he did was ask Hyung for help to stop Youngjin's series of bankruptcies. Actually, since then, I had a strange feeling that it might be real. Because in fact, the company that was Youngjin's biggest supplier went bankrupt a few months later. But I didn't want to believe the story.
Then you can start over with the woman you want. The elders will also give up on me. So just hold on until the end of the year.
That's because the words spoken as if it were natural that there would be no years after that. I'm afraid that the child's words that said he had never lived past 27 years old were true.
He said that Mr. Kim Donghan had made a big mistake. And it would be resolved soon. He said I would have 2 grandchildren in the future. So don't worry too long. I wanted to believe those words, holding them tightly like a lifeline even though I understood Professor Kim's mother's feelings. I couldn't forgive him, because he boldly wanted you after our Gwighian became like that. He said Gwighian would wake up soon. If he wakes up, I will scold that child to the bone. I will never let him set foot in the White Night again. How could I forgive him even if I thought about Xian, who had suffered until the age of 25 when she was used by Gwighian without meeting her biological parents?
At that moment, I heard something explode in my head.
Xian must be worried about what if Professor Kim's daughter really died without thinking about her frustration.
Uncontrollable hatred and anger inside me.
When Gwighian asked him to follow his orders, he couldn't refuse and just nodded his head. I'm sure she used me as an excuse. I didn't know that and instead urged Xian several times to meet Gwighian properly.
She grew up with a sharp spear in her hand, which stretched its branches in all directions.
Even if I wanted to blame Gwydion, I couldn't because she was still lying there. I really regret not being able to pretend to know for Cian's sake. So you have to treat Cian well. The thing I regret the most now is, when Cian said she liked Aigen, I should have told her to date you right away. But instead, I insisted that she couldn't be with you and that she had to marry Gwydion. Cian said she liked you, not Gwydion.
Ah, you're here.
This poor girl.
I've been waiting for you.